Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Impale Dan, your host. And today I have for you a bit of a treat, a 2 versus 2 on Lorraine. Yes, indeed, it will be Lorraine, and a 2 versus 2. I felt this one was rather interesting. I got some other ones, but I felt they were perhaps a bit too long and sort of repetitive. So let's have a look at this. 2 versus 2 in the ruins of Lorraine, your typical bombed out French town as the Allies got closer and closer to the German border, I suppose. Or even that made progress in Normandy. It is rather distinct by being, besides heavily urban, the victory points, at least in the edges, are somewhat easier to defend. Not a lot of roads to come in through, and some nice buildings which can of course provide some nice covering points with a heavy machine gun, for example, in both north and south. The center though, not quite the same, and of course while there's a building covering it, it does have a weak spot right there, so keep that in mind. Plus there are a lot of roads going in towards it. Resources are evenly spread out, nothing unusual there, and you usually see the hotspots are in fact around the victory points. So moving on to the opponents to sure, and the southern part, or eastern part I suppose, of the map, we are seeing part of the Sperrverbande trying to hold this city against all odds. Sailormo, representing the Panzer elite, i.e. Panzer grenadiers, being part of this force, rather hastily scrambled together to hold the town alongside Sakura Kyoko. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that properly, and I probably will never find out. Although I suppose one could also... No, we'll just keep it at Sperrverbande, although it could be an SS Sperrverbande. But there we go. Sperrverbande. At least seems a bit pronounceable. A bit odd name. Sounds Asian or possibly Japanese, but again, I don't know. But who shall be facing them on the Allied side? We are seeing InsaneJB, and yes, this probably also means Tommygaga, a combined Allied force moving in to secure this city for the Allies and liberate it on the way towards Berlin. So of course we can already imagine here we are seeing a British-American combo once more. We are seeing a Panther elite and Wehrmacht combination again as well. We'll of course have to see what they do. Will they be more aggressive than the previous match, or will they also get awfully dull? And we are seeing a barracks going up immediately here from InsaneJB. We are seeing a lieutenant on the way from the headquarters command truck. We're probably seeing that packing up thereafter. And they're basically saying these are good. They're not saying they are brass. Take it easy there. And, oh, Asian type. No idea what that means. Let's not get into that. But we are seeing no Wehrmacht quarters. Oh, wait, there we go. And again, this is something to actually note. With team games, you can actually build your buildings and the basis of your teammates. So for example, he's using his teammates' base to get up the Wehrmacht quarters a lot awfully closer to the center, and of course decreasing the time there, since of course his base is sort of rather laid back. So that's of course an interesting maneuver. We are seeing Panzer grenadiers heading towards the center, and we are seeing a Kettenkrad also swiftly moving out. Pioneers on the other hand are moving towards the north. In fact, we are seeing 3 pioneer teams, so plenty of capturing power for the German Sperrverbande. We'll just call it the SS Sperrverbande actually. SS Sperrverbande more. It looks like Mr. Tommygaga screaming out for help. And looks like this Kettenkrad has met its match with these brave engineers with grease guns. The Kettenkrad of course lacking any sort of sidearm to actually force them back. Of course that might otherwise be a bit too much if it had. Plus a bit hard to drive, I suppose. We are seeing further engineers heading towards the center, and some riflemen, Panzer grenadiers, though, are also converging on this point. And what looks like to be some pioneers as well. And we are seeing a bike heading towards the center. The first unit out in the Wehrmacht quarters is not a Volksgrenadier team, not an MG42 auto sniper, but a bike. Volksgrenadiers are not, of course, either. And looks like these riflemen are getting up right here in a sort of nasty hedgehog position set up by the Panzer grenadiers. This is in fact not an entirely bad idea. In particular, those riflemen could have been caught up there in a nasty spot. Riflemen getting gunned down by Panzer grenadiers, and the bike moves in, rather turning this into a huge scramble away from all of this. Good job there in getting them up in separate buildings. Of course, the American commander was then rather clever in at least getting up to the side here where only one Panzer grenadier could fire out, and of course those chaps over in the other building could not, so good show there. We are seeing reconnaissance section troops continuing in the center. Panzer Grenadiers getting out there. Of course, also the chaps with the Gewehr 43 semi-automatic rifle. There was also the Gewehr 41, well, that was pretty bad from what I hear. The Gewehr 43 was a much more successful venture into it, and was usually given either out in sniper variants, but then also as mostly, in fact, for reconnaissance units, which needed the increased firepower a bit more, since they were probably going to find themselves a bit more into the front lines. But they were also given to squads, usually to the every basically second in command of the squad after the squad leader, to increase firepower as well. And looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are forced to retreat after running straight into the Hornet's Nest and a headquarters command truck. And of course also note, Allied troops can reinforce near their teammates' headquarters. So for example, that's also an advantage of the headquarters command truck. An American commander can also reinforce near it, which of course makes it an even nastier spot to actually find out. And it looks like this lieutenant is being forced away by some nasty pioneers. At the same time, we are seeing a recon section getting bold, but now getting pinned down by a bike and a sniper. This is not looking too fortunate. At the same time, we're also seeing a Kampfgruppe company coming up for more. And looks like the Americans are continuing in the south, while the British are mucking about in the north, it seems, perhaps hoping to break through there. Only some pioneers to hold them back, so that's not a bad idea. Rifle Grenadiers moving in, although they might want to stand still. Get the best note. There we go, pioneers getting the bloody hell out of there, while at the same time flamethrower engineers and riflemen are forcing away the Wehrmacht forces in the center. Panzer Grenadiers moving in. More Gewehr 43s being equipped. Lots of semi-automatic weaponry for everyone in the Wehrmacht. And looks like some riflemen are being forced back by a bike. That's a bit, well, unusual. But still, the bike can be a bit nasty. And in fact, it's actually more effective than the LMG 42 at range, which again only says a lot of things about the state of the LMG 42. Panzer Grenadiers moving towards through here, ignoring these flamethrower engineers, and the flamethrower engineers are more than happy to return the favor. And we are seeing some pioneers with flamethrowers moving in, engaging this mortar emplacement, but without support they are probably going to get stamped in the face by these Tommies. And there we go, Pioneer Team is lost. That was a bit of a reckless move. We are seeing this kit and crack continuing to seize territory, but now getting harassed by some riflemen. And when I say harassed, I mean get shot to pieces. And oh dear, kit and crack lost. Wehrmacht forces with a bike and lots of snipers. And an MG42, he's, oh dear, he's only using support units. He's using, I suppose, the bikes as sort of a spot for his snipers, and now he's getting a Kampfkraft sensor, oh dear. Of course, snipers do have a certain effectiveness against British troops, since they do have a bit harder dealing with them. But at the same time, any sort of strong push, and of course those snipers won't be able to do much. And again, they're not exactly your regular assault troops. One mistake and they're gone. Panzer Grenadiers charging in from the south, hoping to sort of envelop all of this. Full retreat from the Allied forces in the north. Lieutenant dodges everything, rather fortunate. And the Panzer Grenadiers apparently are not aware there's a lieutenant running right past them. There we go. Oi, Lieutenant, fire, or fire frei. But no, the lieutenant gets away most fortunately. And we are now seeing a InsaneJB command up, and assault rifles for the Panzer Grenadiers, going to increase their firepower quite exponentially, short and medium range. I know some people like to think of them as only short-range weapons, well, they also do a pretty good job medium range, so keep that in mind. Just remember to stand still with them, since of course weapons fire better when they are fired from a static position, or at least still standing. Pioneers coming under fire. German forces securing the north. Jolly good show there. Constantly shifting axis. When one thing turns out to be too much, then attack elsewhere. Panzer Grenadiers doing the best against all of these riflemen. And one rifleman down there, but they are simply outgunned and are forced to retreat. Oh dear. But what is this? Armored car to the rescue, blasting away with its auto cannon. Riflemen are forced into a swift retreat. And we are seeing a field support truck moving in. We are also seeing from the American base a supply yard, and I suspect perhaps a motor pool very soon. Yes, in fact, just as I'm about to mention it, we see a motor pool going up. That's splendid move right there. And the Wehrmacht base, we are seeing, well, nothing else really at the moment. Pioneers repairing, and we are seeing a lot of veterancy for support units. Of course, snipers do get a bit tougher, but at the same time, at veterancy 3, they can fire somewhat faster. Not a lot faster, but still noticeably so. And of course, pioneers just get tougher. Sneaky little buggers. Pioneers, of course, were assault troops, of course, that is understandable. And we are seeing some Panzer grenadiers cut off from the rest of the force, engaging some British troops right out in the open. But apparently the British troops are not reacting to this in proper manner, and now they are getting rescued by a mobile Panzer Elite Force armored car and bike to the rescue. Panzer grenadiers firing away from the cemetery, hoping not to join those already resting there. Snipers doing a bit of nasty work right here, and will we be seeing a third? No, but this MG42 team was, of course, also be improved, getting elite armor at Veterancy 2, I believe, and just more health at Veterancy 3. At Veterancy 1, it gains an accuracy bonus, and it also gains a reload bonus, so it's generally improved. And again, getting Veterancy 1 for MG42s, or even if you captured an American machine gun, it's actually a pretty good idea. It can really do something a bit extra. Bike doing a bit here, but he might want to pull back against these riflemen. Casualty clearing station going up, about bloody time, I might add. Certainly going to be of help in picking up the wounded. American forces in the south facing off against an armored car standing out in the middle of everything. Americans holding to the heavy cover good show there. Panther grenadiers charging in, assault rifles blazing, oh dear. And riflemen are forced away. We are seeing pioneers moving in, and in fact a lot of pioneers now. Veterancy 3, oh dear. British troops forced away from the center, or possibly the Americans. Panzer grenadiers and another armored car in the north, and in the south we are seeing the first M8 armored car. Armored skirts already ready. 50 cal machine gun ready to unleash hell on those Panzer grenadiers very soon. One Panzer grenadier already down, and those assault rifles won't be able to do much. And going commando, that is commando doctrine, nothing else. And looks like these pioneers are in a very nasty spot despite Veterancy 3. And snipers now doing the best. MG42 though opening up in support. Tommy is immediately getting suppressed, and of course note, when troops are mixed up together they take increased damage the closer they are to each other and the more there are. Keep that in mind. That is a sort of anti-block mechanic to sort of prevent anyone from getting the idea, well, I'll just clog it with my dead. No, that's not going to work. Only thing you'll do is feed them faster. And looks like this medic is being looked very nastily upon by these Panzer grenadiers. Will they respect the Geneva Convention? I cannot say. No! Panzer grenadiers opening up and killing him. And the M8 charges in for Uncle Sam. And Panzer grenadiers are getting out of there. At the same time, we are seeing a Luert Stuart. Light tank getting another Luert. There was no such thing as a Luert. And we are seeing absolutely no anti-tank assets up from the German side. That's actually a pretty bad thing. Again, always a rule of thumb for when you're playing 2 versus 2, or generally any 1 versus 1 as well, always get an anti-tank asset. In particular, if you're not seeing BARs for the riflemen, then it's pretty much a prerogative. Unless, of course, you're rather keen on facing armored cars and Stuart light tanks without anything to protect you. And in 2 versus 2 games, the rule is make sure you both have it on your own. Otherwise, either one will be caught off guard and beaten into snot. And let's go have a look at Sailormo, our Panzer Elite commander. We are seeing this M8 armored car holding back the Panzer Elite armored cars. Their auto cannons not really able to do much. 4 kills already, which means Veterancy 1. Panzer grenadiers moving about. The M8 having a nice time knocking out one armored car. Getting too close to the Panzer Elite base, be careful. Those flak feelings can do a bit of damage actually. And we are seeing stormtroopers joining in. This is certainly a SS Kampfverbande. Sperrverbande actually. Kampfverbande actually isn't a wrong term either. Just means fighting force, I suspect, but of course it doesn't really have the same as the Sperrverbande, which was actually a blocking force, the sort of defensive equivalent of the Kampfgruppe. And so generally the SS Sperrverbande more. Yes, nothing highly advanced right there, but then again I have to work with the names, and currently they are not awfully inspiring, for at least for something German. But there we go. Panzer grenadiers charging in. Stormtroopers ready as well. Will he be double equipping them with Panther tricks? In which case I can't help but feel a twinge of sadness and despair. Stuart tank moving in. Could this mean a canister shot right into this? And yes, indeed, but the Panzer grenadiers are quick to retreat. Stormtroopers moving in. Panther tricks flying, and of course Stuart light tanks do have a small bonus against those now, so they won't take as much damage. Stormtroopers gaining veterancy as well now. Snipers and pioneers moving about in the north, laying down lots of tank traps and mines. Stormtroopers with sniper and MG42 support moving about in the center. while the rest of the SS Panther Grenadiers are doing what they can as well. Armored car and Stuart tank having fun with these stormtroopers. Stormtroopers not really having much luck. Looks like a bunker was attempted to be set up, but that did not work out. Could have been good to perhaps pick up some of all those Panther Grenadier wounded. Again, if you're having a teammate going with a lot of Panther Grenadiers, a medic station is not necessarily a bad idea. M8 arm engine is damaged. Anti-tank half-track on the move. Stuart light tank moving in, hoping to save its American comrade. Opening up, and no, the anti-tank half-track elopes. But the bike might not make it out of there, instead feeling the wrath of the Stuart light tank. But the bike gets out of there, it seems. And we are seeing some light movements in the south, but Americans are also busy laying down mines of their own. Good show there. No mine, barbed wire, sandbags or tank traps though. Mortar pit here, ready to bombard this area. And we are seeing a Bofors 40mm anti-aircraft cannon right here. That's certainly going to do a nice job against any anti-tank half-tracks and armored cars, and of course infantry, unless they can get close in, for example, stormtroopers. And this anti-tank half-track might not survive, but Panther now moving in. A 37mm gun from the Greyhound opens in to support the Stuart against the vicious stormtroopers. Stormtroopers blowing up a vicious tree. Could have been serving the allies, but now we shall never know. The stormtroopers were cleared out by a single canister shot. Snipers joining in, firing away at these riflemen. The riflemen moving in, hoping to knock out this anti-tank half-track and eventually the fallen Stuart light tank. And the anti-tank half-track flies out of control. That was rather unfortunate. At the same time, we are probably going to be seeing more stormtroopers out from Sakura Kyoko. Not entirely sure why he's so reliant on stormtroopers, and again, I'm not entirely keen on the fact that he's going for a lot of calling units and then has absolutely nothing else except an MG42 and some snipers, and I think that MG42 has in fact been lost, which is only worse. Generally not the best thing. A pack could have been of help. Some mortars, Nebelwerfer, Stugs, Pumas, anything really. Stormtroopers against armored cars is not necessarily going to work out the best. Doing their best against this armored car, which engine is completely wrecked. It is glowing white. It's that bad. And snipers now joining in from the American side, clearing out another stormtrooper team. That is absolutely terrible rate of attrition. You want to be careful with your stormtroopers. You don't want to be constantly losing them. And there we go, holding the center, and let us switch over to Sakura, see what he's up to. More stormtroopers being called in again. Rate of attrition not really good. Medic bunker could perhaps help, but again he doesn't seem to be going for that. And the Allied forces are certainly keeping up the pressure, currently holding most of the points. And of course also laying down some defensive positions, both for us in the center now with the anti-tank gun. Tommygaga asking which doctrine he wanted, and InsaneJB reminding him commandos. Looks like we are seeing some British troops moving about in the north, and looks like a heavy machine gun did fall into the hands of the Tommies. That's going to be a nasty surprise for them. The German forces, that is. Pretty sure they hopefully at least wouldn't be shooting on their own friends. Another stormtrooper moving in. So lots of stormtroopers, lots of Panther Grenadiers. Then again, looks like the Panther Grenadiers have been taking heavy casualties as well. No, apparently not. But scorched earth it is, laying down booby traps. Interesting. Stormtroopers moving north with snipers in support. British troops making an assault towards the south. Only thing holding them there is a Kettenkrad and an armored car. That's generally not going to be the most dangerous force. And there we go. Rifle grenades, Piat rounds flying, and the armored car opens up. Panther Grenadiers are charging in. Assault rifle and Gewehr 43 combo. Piat rounds flying at the armored car, but every shot misses. That was rather spectacular. Panther Grenadiers taking up position in this building. Sappers are moving away, hoping to take up some positions in heavy cover. American troops are also joining in this assault. And stormtroopers making an assault in the north, but getting suppressed. 2 reconnaissance sections and an MG42 nearby. Why he didn't cloak those stormtroopers though is a bit odd. Could certainly been used for some reconnaissance purpose, but and there we go. Commandos dropping in from behind. The bike is cleared out, and now the commandos charging in, hoping to wreak some havoc on those snipers. And no, the entire force retreats as the British forces push in from both sides. That was rather unfortunate for Tommygaga. He could really have scored a victory there. At the same time, the German forces also pushed away from the south. And a Panther battle group being called in. The 12th SS supplying some of their most grandiose armor for this assault. Rather interesting. Though at the same time I can't help but lament the fact of anything beyond Panzer Grenadiers and armored cars. Yes, Panthers are nice, but something else would have been nicer. At the same time, I could say the same about not Tommygaga, but the Wehrmacht commander, who's basically going only for stormtroopers and snipers, which isn't really the best thing either to sort of rely on in the long run. Mortars would have been nice. Half-tracks would have been nice. Armor would have been nice. Now getting Stu 42s, but of course if the British are going to get armor, that's not going to do much either. And there we go, demolition charge going off, doing nothing to the mighty Panthers. Panzerkampfwagen 5 crashing forwards. Oh my goodness, the sniper was crushed beneath the treads. He might stay hidden to the eye, but the Panther tanks crushes all beneath its tread, visible or not. So there you go. Do not hide beneath the treads of a Panther, you'll only get squished. So looks like a successful assault right here in the north. We are seeing a radio triangulation detector thingy up. Good show there. Although that seems to be the only one.
behalf of a grateful fatherland in the glorious struggle. Honor and blood. Present this iron cross.
You need 3 for that to work. For example, one here, here, and well, I don't know, there. And then you could see everything between those 3 points. But looks like the Germans are making a push through here. Stormtroopers leading the charge. Pioneers doing absolutely nothing. Snipers as well. Absolutely brilliantly coordinated in complete nothingness. Mortars opening up somewhere, perhaps in the south, where the Panzer lead has secured some points. And Panzer Grenadiers are retreating most swiftly. Nothing else, no Panzer force, no mortar half-tracks. No anything. Except Panthers and Panzer Grenadiers, and the armored cars looks like to have been lost by now. Looks like we are seeing the anti-tank gun moving towards the north, and the British making ready for something there as well. More anti-tank guns getting ready, and a tank depot is up. That's really going to spell something nasty for the Germans. In particular, if their tanks decide to be where the Panzers are not. Lots of stormtroopers hanging about, not fully equipping them with Panzer 6, which is good. But at the same time, I can't help but feel he's lacking in support. Tank traps being tried to be laid down, but getting stopped by anti-tank guns. Booby traps doing something nasty. Apparently killing some commandos, somehow getting them lodged into this fence. That was rather tragic. For the commandos, that is. I'm sure the Wehrmacht is quite happy that the commandos didn't get away with it. And looks like we are seeing booby traps, or well, demolition charges being laid everywhere, but they can be used as sort of booby traps. Mines for the sharp-eyed commander. Of course, if your opponent spots it, it's not going to do much. And of course, be wary about laying down right in front of your opponent. He might, for example, use a Stu 42 or a grenade to set it off while your commandos are there, and then it's goodbye commandos. I do believe it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. My apologies. Of course, currently the situation for the Wehrmacht is that they have managed to secure the 2 outlying victory points, but the southern one is already being lost again due to a sort of lack of cohesive effort. Yes, they have something that can kill the British, but they can't, and Americans, but they don't really have anything that can actually hold the ground they're taking. The armored cars get easily knocked out. Panzer Grenadiers are nice, but without support they're not going to be doing much. And again, stormtroopers, alright, but again, been using an awful lot of resources on snipers. In fact, we're talking over 1,000 manpower just in snipers alone. And then of course all that veterancy, that's actually close to 2,000 manpower alone just on snipers. That's not too good. You could probably have it on a much larger force or much more deeper force, one that could handle a lot more things. Instead, he's sort of running back and forth, being beaten back, then attacking. Then again, a sort of circle which he can't really break out from, even with the might of the Stu 42. In the long run, I fear, and the Panzer Lead Commander just again doesn't really have anything that can hold up in a sort of protracted fight, which again is what you're rather going to be facing with British moving in. And when there's also commanders, it's just not really going to be fun if you're really this sort of short fight build, which is sort of again lots of Panzer grenades with assault rifles and armored cars. That's not really what you're going to make if you're expecting this fight to last any long. And yes, he's gone for Panthers, but they're going to have some trouble with infantry. Yes, they can kill them, but still not as fast as a Panzer IV. So that's of course a sort of thing. And we are seeing the armor also rising for the British, so now they will really be able to put up the pressure. And that rather is basically what they need to do. They just need to keep up the pressure on the Axis forces, keep attacking in all spots and hold the center, and drain the Axis forces slowly of manpower, because they have such a hard time replacing it and withstanding the fight. So, let us return to this fight. Looking at InsaneJB, actually no doctrine as of yet, that's rather interesting. No airborne doctrine, no armor doctrine, no infantry doctrine. The con section coming under quite a bit of fire, sniping out one Panther Grenadiers, but getting slowed down and gunned down, compelling them into a very swift retreat. Several recon section troops are getting killed, not making out of their line, while the other one is running a delaying action. At the same time, the mortar pit sets ready to fire up, and now commanders are moving in to counter. Recon section sets up, awaiting this. And there we go, commanders with Sten guns blazing, forcing the Panzer Grenadiers to get out of there in the most expedient manner. And the other chaps are also forced to get out of there due to those commanders, and the reconnaissance section not looking good. North is still held, and we are seeing a bunker going up. Stormtroops with Stu 42 in support holding up here, ready to react wherever it might be, it seems. But the south is once more lost to the Allied forces, while the the Allied forces are digging in the center with a vengeance. And we are seeing a Sherman hitting the field, the first Allied armor of medium size. And looks like he's pulling his Panthers back into a reserve position as well. Stormtroops moving out without support, and something got blown to bits by a demo charge. Looks like it was a pioneer team. Stormtroops being caught out in the open, one down rather swiftly in fact. Stormtroops getting out of there. Looks like the Allied forces are making a move for the north as well again. Most victory points are still in the hands of the Allies. Things are rather quickly ticking downwards for the Axis. More Stormtroopers being called onto the field still. Nothing besides Stormtroopers and those snipers. No balanced force in terms of force composition and what it can do. Now that Sherman is going to prove to be a nuisance to those Panther Grenadiers, which have been increased in squad sizes but still not in anti-tank capabilities. Panthers will have to move away from the north. Of course, that means then that the Allied could attack in the north without expecting any armor. Panther Grenadier team is lost to the Sherman. Good shot right there. Blasting away. 4 kills so far. Mortar rounds landing as well, and those Panther Grenadiers are quick to get out of there. Panthers charging away, crashing through the town, and the Sherman just doing what it does, or at least what it likes to do, kill some Jerrys. Sherman number 2 is ready, and looks like we are seeing the Armored Command Center right there. Nothing coming out of there. An Armored Command Track, but still nothing coming out of it. No Cromwells, no Fireflies, Cromwell Command Tracks or Star Counts, anything. Looks like our American friend is going armor. And artillery seems to be ready for the Panzer Elite Commander, so that's probably going to be the sort of registered artillery. Barrage, a bit problematic in some senses. Since of course it doesn't really fire off any sort of good barrages here. Sometimes it can be useful, other times you can just stand and watch as it does nothing, and it's basically a waste of 200 munitions. It's sort of a bit hit and run. Pioneers hitting a mine. Stormtroopers advancing towards the center. Panthers towards the south. Nothing to hold the north. Again, they seem to not really have a clue as to how to hold these points, and are sort of moving away the forces, and then of course running into mines, and then of course they're going to lose what they had.
Okay, done building.
Panthers coming under quite a bit of fire, exposing the sides to the anti-tank guns and the Shermans. Artillery being called in on the Panthers. Oh dear. And a hiccup. And apparently that was decoy smoke.
Let's put some fear into them.
That seems awfully excessive. 3 sapper teams with Piats and 2 reconnaissance sections. More armor could probably have done a bit better, but there we go. Leading the charge with the reconnaissance sections. The rest ready to move in, I suppose. 2 Stu-42s, lots of stormtroopers, the Panthers, and of course the snipers. At the same time, the Panthers are doing a bit of havoc right here in the center, coming under quite a bit of fire though. Perhaps hoping to clear out that mortar pit, or perhaps the Shermans, I can't say. And we are seeing field repairs going up. Going to repair the Shermans, and they do have high velocity guns, going to certainly give them easier time against the Panthers. And the anti-tank gun, of course, with armor-piercing rounds will certainly make it very unpleasant for those Panthers as well. Oh dear, Panther number 2 retreating, exposing its rear armor just as a sticky bomb goes off. And now the Shermans move in alongside the anti-tank gun, but the engine survives, it seems. And looks like the other part of the assault goes in towards the center. 17-pounder gun is up. Stu-42 shells flying. Stormtroopers taking up position here. American sniper moving in. Could be cut down. Although where are the German snipers? Apparently retreating most expediently. Alongside some other Stormtroopers. 17-pounder cleared out.
They have 200 points left.
And the Bofors is still there. If the Germans were to continue the assault now, they could secure the center, but apparently they aren't. Or what? Stormtroopers moving towards the center now with assault rifles, lots of assault rifles, snipers, and other Stormtroopers really need to get in there as well though. And generally he really needs to get something in the first place. Stormtroopers once more hitting a mine and getting gunned down by the Sherman. Not really looking good. Sherman's really taking up a defensive position there. Stormtrooper sniper force moving in once more. Again, I'm not liking this force. At the same time, the British have secured the north. And the only thing left is the south, although it looks like the commanders are forced to retreat due to a booby trap. Assault grenadiers moving through here. All looking good. And some Panzer grenadiers with gear 43s. Stu-42s hanging about here. Panthers getting repaired by all those lovely pioneers. Shermans mucking about as Shermans are wont to do. And looks like the Panzer League commander now has advanced repairs for his Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer player. But at the same time he doesn't really have any Panzer Grenadiers around to do that, so that seems a bit beyond the point, or besides it. Nothing else going on. Stu-42's apparently moving towards the north as a large force is doing so as well, hoping to oust the allies from it. Vickers machine gun emplacement over there, and those stormtroopers are going to run right into it uncloaked. Oh dear. Oh dear, there we go. No, he is cloaking. My goodness, that was awfully quick. But no, one team does not, and of course everyone gets suppressed. Panthers flying through the air. Stu-42's moving in, but Shermans are also moving in, hoping to intercept all of this. Oh dear, those Stu-42s are going to look be in a nasty position. Snipers opening up for some reason. They're probably going to be gunned down if they're not careful. Panthers moving in to help the Stu-42s get out of there alive. Now with veterancy free, which again, considering they're against the armor, isn't really going to do much. Artillery flying in, and the Panthers might be rolling just into it. No, apparently not. Opening up on the Shermans. A quick armored duel. Lots of British infantry moving in. Plenty of Piats. Stu 42 moving in though to help. Allied forces are now moving in heavily in the south as well. Panthers are for some reason fearing the Germans from the front. Do not worry. Unless they're highly veteran, they won't be able to do much from the front. Unless they are a lot. And Vickers machine gun emplacement cleared out. Lots of decoy smoke but no actual artillery. And Stu 42 is bombarding the Pia troops, killing quite a few, putting out an entire team. It looks like the Germans might be lost to the Panthers. The might of the Panzer being too much for the German tanks. In this veterancy 1. Stu 42 is joining in for a bit of fun. Panzer Grenadiers forced away from the center. The Bofors still there, proving quite a threat to everyone moving in there on foot. MG42 hanging about there as well. Sherman continuing pulling back while the Panthers move on. There we go. Sherman is lost. An anti-tank gun is all that is left, and some rifle grenadiers. Panthers move in for the kill. Those rifle grenadiers really need to get out there. Stormtroopers are making an assault, but are doing so uncloaked. Oh dear. Getting gunned down out in the open by Bren guns and reconnaissance section troops. That's not going to do much help. But let us switch over to our Wehrmacht commander once more. Awfully close to be able to get a Tiger tank though. That could be what he needs. At the same time, the Allies are being forced away in the north. And a bundle grenade right there. Jolly good show. Or was it a bundle grenade? But at least I think it was. My mind was elsewhere as I was sort of thinking about that in the north, where the Panthers are breaking through with lots of pioneer support, clearing out anti-tank guns. Northern victory point will once more fall into the hands of the SS Sperrverbande. Stormtroopers getting out of there. Snipers sniping commanders. One is lost to the commanders. Commanders not caring about sniper fire, just charging ahead, gunning those sneaky snipers down.
Deploy at your convenience.
What do you need?
And looks like all of the armored forces are being pulled together right here in the north, and an assault from here right down there could in fact do quite a bit of damage to the Allied positions. At the same time, we are seeing tank destroyers though, and Fireflies, lots and lots of Fireflies, really expecting some sort of Panther naughtiness. And we are seeing a Pershing joining in as well, although the Pershing has suffered quite extensive damage. Tiger almost ready to be called in, but it lacks the population space for it, so that's not going to be joining the SS troops right away. Panthers getting repaired. Points need to be taken, so the Tiger can be called in. And eventually 3 Tiger is certainly something to be feared. And what is this? We are seeing the Hummel self-propelled artillery on the field, ready to bombard the Allied positions with its 105mm gun. The gun itself was known as Emmergrün, I believe, which basically means evergreen.
We lost a sniper.
Sort of a funny name. And we are seeing Marder Fries now being used by the Panzer Elite Commander, although I can't help but feel that is too little too late. And another sniper lost. Stormtroopers charging ahead. Allied mines still abound, and this Bofors staying a bit far from the Marder, but anti-tank are moving in, but not fast enough. The Bofors is cleared out, and the Stormtroopers could clear out the anti-tank gun. They could even recruit that MG42 with a bit of luck. Stormtroopers taking up positions in the postal office. And artillery being called in here. Tiger though ready to be called in. Will the Tiger be called in? Come on, mate. And then he forgets all about the Tiger. That's brilliant. And of course the MG42 in the center, but come on, call in a Tiger, do the right thing. And Sappers getting gunned down, Pioneers charging in. And looks like a main British counterattack is moving in. 2 Fireflies, Staghound, Tiger being called in. Panthers and Marder holding the center with some assault grenadiers. Artillery calling in on the Marder, knocking it out. Staghound charging in. Sticky bombs going off en masse on the Panther. Oh dear. Panther is knocked out. Vengeance up for those riflemen. Fireflies continue to let loose a barrage of 17-pounder fire, advancing ever closer. But now they might be caught between a Panther and a Tiger. There we go. Tiger is moving in through the ruins of the town, hoping to prey on the tasty fireflies. But it hits a mine. Again, once more, the Allied mines do it. And the Tiger's engine is instantly damaged. Oh dear. Stu 42's charging through the center. Fireflies pulling out of there. Artillery being called in somewhere. On the Tiger, on the Stu 42s. Somewhere else. No, right here on the victory point to prevent anyone from getting it. My goodness. Stu 42 still holding the line, blasting away, but now the Fireflies are moving in for a bit of punishing firepower. British troops, though, in the middle of everything, are getting killed in great numbers. Oh dear, the Stu 42's really doing their job at disabling the central victory point. At the same time, we are seeing some forces moving towards the north, but disabling a victory point right in the center. They must really not have confidence in holding it. And it's certainly not going to be mattering because, again, they haven't been holding the other two victory points, and in fact they just shot themselves in the foot rather magnificently. And there you go. A victory for the Allied combined force, composed of the, oh, I don't know, 7th Armored Division and 2nd Armored Division of the Americans. So there you go, a victory for the Americans. The SS Sperrverbande more did not hold the line, having resorted to some rather ineffective tactics, sort of using the worst of the 1 versus 1 Panzer elite tactics, which again don't really lend themselves to sort of protracted fighting, sort of long-term fighting. Again, it sort of quickly ground them down, left them without much to do. And of course the Panthers had trouble dealing with all the infantry, and of course it was lots of infantry they were facing. They did not get a Panzer IV, and the Wehrmacht commander had a lot of snipers, and in fact used ridiculously a lot of resources on snipers, and so wasn't really able to do much either until he got stormtroopers, and those he lost in great numbers. He didn't get a medic bunker, which could have helped, but no. And then again he relied on Stu 42s and later on a Tiger again. That was a pretty unwieldy force, and perhaps, though, then again we are talking about Tommygaga, who's certainly not a bad player. So of course against a lesser good player it could have worked, but again in the long run it's not really a healthy force. It's not a balanced one. It's sort of one that's going to tip over eventually, and as we saw, that certainly happened with the Panzer elite commander. And of course their decision to disable the central point doesn't make too much sense either. And there we go. The other guy, of course, then having to take the point because he rather realized, well, that's bloody stupid. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Lane saying, think a bit ahead when you're playing 2 versus 2 or even 1 versus 1. Cheers!